Hi friends, I hadn't planned on making another video right now, but Indian people are coming for me in my comments. And, so I know I'm on the right track with what I'm saying. But what I want to talk about in this specific video is Indian people and anti-Black racism specifically. So whether this is within the country of India, or whether this is when Indian people immigrate to any part of the world, whether it be on the African continent, in North America, South America, wherever, Indian people have, and again, I'm not saying every single Indian person, but I'm talking about Indian people generally, our society, our culture, the belief systems that Indian people hold, etc. Indian people are extremely, extremely racist, especially towards Black people. And if you take a Black person who has been around Indian people for any period of time, Black people pick up on this. It's something that is, this is not a secret. Whether you're talking to, say African students who study in India, which there are African students who are there, or whether you're talking about, say, Kenyans. There's a large population of Kenya that are Indian people that have immigrated to that country, or South Africa, or Canada, or, the United States, whatever. But Black people pick up on Indian people's racism because it is quite apparent. It's something that that is there. It's obvious. So I'm just going to give you an example of me, my family, and the Indian people in South Africa. When I grew up there, I spent the first 12 years of my life under apartheid. So we had servants, maids, cooks, gardeners, etc. And all of these people were Africans. They were Black people. And all of the Indians in South Africa had servants. Okay, they were all Black. Now, how were these servants treated? They were treated as subhuman. They were not considered to be human beings with feelings. They drank out of different cups. So Indian people would not share their table with the servants, who were an integral part of their household. They took care of their children. They drove them everywhere. They cooked for them. But they had to eat off of separate dishes. They could not sit on the furniture. They, if, say, for example, when we left our home and we traveled, so we lived in Pietermaritzburg, we traveled to Durban on the weekends, holidays, whatever. Our maid would come with us. She was not allowed to sleep on or sit on our furniture or sleep on our furniture, so she had to sleep on the floor.
Hi guys, welcome to yet another video. It's Ndagere here. Thanks for clicking on this video. For those of you that have been watching this channel, you know I've been talking about this situation or these kinds of people, and I mean, especially when it comes to how they see African people. I would say when it comes to like the people in the diaspora, maybe there's a little bit of a difference. I can't really tell, but also, I mean, when I traveled and the experience that I got going to Dubai, this same group of people are the worst to ever like be in space with, and these are the Indians, guys. We try sometimes to keep like a positive mindset, but in a world where it looks like every other person that does not look like us, even those that look like us, see us as a problem, it gets crazy. So I landed on this video of this Indian woman that was like, you know what, enough is enough, and I need to call out my people, like the way these people treat Black people, the way these people see Black people, even within their community, guys. For the longest time, actually before I traveled to Dubai, guys, I always thought India didn't have like Black people in their place, because I mean, when you look into their media and what they push out, it's always the light skinned, you know, ladies and men with, you know, the nice hair and the fair skin and all that. So I never ever thought like, okay, these guys actually have dark skin, but it was actually different. And it was the opposite when I went to Dubai, and I saw like a lot of them are actually dark skinned. Okay, not like my skin tone, but they are brown, like they are dark skinned. And I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute, so this thing is actually serious. They hate themselves so much that they can't even represent their own people that are dark skinned in their media. Like I'd never seen it, and I was so shocked. So also the treatment I got from, you know, them being in that side, I was like, wait a minute, These people look like us. These people are like us. How come they feel like they are somehow superior and better than us? And I mean, yes, we might say like it's because of the colonization that happened, and you know, the British and all that, because of course they portray themselves as the best and all that. But I think in 2025 it's a time where we need to even push more to talk about these things, because we cannot continue, you know, just calling out only white people. And there's this also other groups of people, especially people of color, guys. In my experience, I say this with an open heart, with my hands up. I've never faced like a challenge when it comes to a white person, but people of color towards me, oh wow, oh wow. And I was in shock, like I was like, wait a minute, these people are worse than these colonizers that came and colonized them in history. Because let me tell you guys, the white people today, I would say they are now a little bit scared to do like certain things. Okay, they do them, yes, but like I would say there's like a limit, and they kind of like try to learn or understand like this is not okay, you know, we did this, like I need to do better. These other groups of people, the Asians, Indians, like Chinese, Indians, Filipinos, oh my god, the Filipinos. I've shared videos about these experiences, like we shared videos of these things before with a friend of mine, and it's insane. It's insane. The racism towards black people from this specific group of people, Indians towards black people, is insane. And I can really testify. Like if you come to my country, there are times in the news where you see these people don't even want to pay their workers. When they are paying their workers, they put money like in toilets, and after a time, that's when they give them the money out to, you know, the people that work for them, which is like why would you do that? Like is it a cultural thing? Like it's insane, it's insane. And I've also shared videos where people came out and were giving like testimonies and giving like the experiences where these people do not see black people as humans. Like if they are in a space, like black people have to like touch things differently, just like this lady be talking about it. I thought it's only like something that I heard about in Uganda, but the fact that it's also something that happened in South Africa, wow, it shows you how these people really see us today than them people. And not to defend like, you know, them people, the fire should just keep on going, and we should be calling out these groups of people that think that they are better than us somehow, that they are superior somehow because of the hierarchy that the colonizers put up in, you know, in the world of today. It's insane.
These are things that all Indian people did in South Africa. And now I'm just talking about South Africa. I'm not talking about, say, when Indian people immigrate to other countries. But this is true even in first generation Indians. Because, say, if an Indian person had to marry a black person, 9 times out of 10, that Indian person's family is going to completely disown the Indian person who married a black person. Now, Indian people generally, they want Indian people to marry within their they want Indian people to marry other Indian people, and then they even go into like, well, they want the same caste, and they even have subcastes and all of this stuff. So but if an Indian person marries a white person, or say an Asian person, it's not considered to be as heinous of an act as if an Indian person married a black person. So this can be tied to the caste system because, like I mentioned in my previous video, Indian people are racist towards other Indian people. And some of this is based on skin color. It's not entirely based on skin color, but there is a factor that is, that is apparent in that. So Ava DuVernay made a movie called Origin, and it's based on Isabel Wilkerson's book Caste, which somebody just pointed out. And it's very difficult for me to talk about these very heavy topics in 10 minutes. So I can't cover everything, but Indian people are inherently racist as a culture and as a society. And then within that racism, there is a hierarchy. So, yes, while an Indian person and Indian society might be racist towards Western people, Western culture, white people, etc. Just like Vivek Ramaswamy making that comment about how, he made all these disparaging comments about, Americans. And he was talking about white Americans, how they're not as smart and blah, blah, blah. These are not uncommon things that Indian people say within themselves. I have been privy to these conversations in whether it's, say a friend situation or families or extended families or just in my Indian community. These are very common beliefs that most all Indian people will espouse. They will say things like, well, white people have no culture. Their food is horrible. They just go on and on and on. But when it comes to Black people specifically, Indian people have extremely racist views about Black people. And it doesn't matter how nice this Black person is, how educated they might be. None of those things matter. And that's why I say that a lot of Indian people, they align themselves with a very far right-wing kind of Trump ideology. So you might take somebody from, say, America, who is a Trumpster, and they espouse all these very racist views. And you could take an Indian person, and in many respects, those views are going to align because Indian people generally tend to hold very racist views. It goes back to the caste system, yes, but it also ties into other aspects. Because as I pointed out before, there are the so-called untouchables in India, and Indian people are racist towards them as well. So this is all a very, these are complicated things, and I'm just trying to do my best to share these ideas because we are in terrible times right now in the United States and in the world generally. So I guess Indian people, if you guys want to come for me, come for me. I am not saying anything that's untrue. This is the truth, and I think it's kind of an open secret.
As I said in the video, that is what she had to say, and there's nothing that I can take away from whatever she said because I've seen it, I've had it, and I experienced it. Like I always told you guys, when I would sit in trains, these groups of people would come in and would start touching their nose, would start like acting weird. They would not even sit next to you, and in my head, I would be like, come on, I am clean than most of you guys. Like, these men would be dirty, these women would be looking like different. Like, okay, they will not be smelling good, but then they will turn around and want to make like us feel like we are the ones that are actually smelling or somehow like not okay to be seated in the same place as them. It was ridiculous. It was insane. I found it really, really crazy. When you would be in workspaces, they always try to pick on the Africans, on the Black people. They would not pick on the, the Indians or the Filipinos or the Pakistanis. They will still pick on an African because they feel like, we are somehow supposed to be servants to them, like we don't deserve anything better. Even those that we were working together in the same positions, still they felt the need that they had to somehow order us around, which I would not take it. I would like I was not taking it, and they reached a time where they would not even talk to me because I was not taking in the BS. I was like, you are not going to treat me a certain way when we are in the same freaking position. We do the same job. You're not going to boss me around. So yeah, I was like, okay, I need to step up. I need to talk about this. And I would say traveling to that place also made me come up and start talking about these things because I never knew they really existed. Like, I really didn't know these groups of people, especially like people of color, hated us so much as Black people, as Africans. Like, okay, I knew colonization happened and like white people came and did whatever they did, but I did not think these other groups of people even had it like they had this bitterness towards us. And I mean, the fact that they do the same thing to their own in their own countries, it just speaks volumes. It just speaks volumes. The fact that they can't even represent their own in the media to show that, hey, we have Black people in, India, we have Black people in these Asian countries. We are able to show them off. They never show them off. What should we expect from them? Like, why should we even expect anything better from these groups of people? Like, people of color, to me, I remove my heart and put it down for them. they are a different kind of breed today than the actual people that started the system of racism, who are pumped people. Sue me, guys, sue me. I said it. And I mean, if you come to like East Africa as well, where these same group of people were brought in to like help with the construction of things like the railway station, seeing them today, like they act as if, you know, they owners, and like they forget that they actually are foreigners in Africa, and at the same time they are not even treated as special in the eyes of these people that they feel close to, which is like insane to me as well. They're not appreciated, they're not given that grace. So it's insane the world we live in today, but I will never stop coming up and sharing these things. And I really appreciate this lady for coming up and sharing things about this. Like, we as African people, as black people, need to like really push to talk about these things every freaking day, because we can't be taking in disrespect from every angle of the world. Yes, we know these other groups of people don't like us, we know, but like, if it's coming from someone that is just like a shade, like one shade lighter from you, to do the same thing to you, that's when it needs to be like stop. That's when it gets crazy. And in my head, I'm like, no, we are not going to take that anymore. This is 2025. We are better than our times of the past, and we are going to speak up every freaking day till this thing reaches a point where we are seen as everybody else and equal as anyone else. That's what I believe in. Yeah, guys, that is it for me in the video. Let me know what you think about this. I really appreciate your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit notification bell. I'm always posting. I will see you guys in another video. Bye.